Well, good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to the Young.
Hello.
How's it going?
Hello. It's going good. How's it going with you today, John?
It
Coach
is
Jay
going.
Shoats?
It is going very well. Going very well. This has been a day of reflecting and contemplating, and I am glad to be able to get that done. Looking forward to the show all day today on what we're going to share. And how about you, Dr. Marcy?
Yeah, I've been thinking about it as I prepare each week. I'm praying, asking God, what do I say? How should we move in this? But also being enlightened a lot about why things happen in the lives of God's people. Regarding finances or whatever. So I'm excited about our coaching session tonight. Yes.
Yes, yes, a great time. So, Dr. Marcy, let's just remind the people what the encore is, and then we'll jump right in.
Yes, the encore. Let's go. Let's go. We want to see what the encore is. I want to see it on the screen so that everybody can go with me. The encore is empowering and nurturing creatives by providing a platform that fosters opportunity for growth, restoration of purpose, and continuous elevation. We move from encore moment to encore moment in our lives.
Yes, Dr. Marcy, and we are anchoring that on Psalms 98. So when you have time in your personal time, just go and read on that, and we'll be glad to hear what you think about it after reading it. Dr. Marcy, last week we begin the series or in the conversation about repositioning ourselves out of cycles or patterns from finances, and we uncovered the word abandonment, and how abandonment kind of affects how we relate to finances. And so we realized that we and understood, and we talked about how you relate with your money is normally an indicator how you relate with other human beings and other relationships. And we're not just talking about romantic relationships. We're talking about platonic, parent, child relationship, co-worker, leader, subordinate leader, siblings. So that it encompasses everything. And we realized when we left out of there that there are some things that we want to approach. And that's one thing, identifying where and why we feel the abandonment and what caused that and trigger. You might be hearing those words like what caused that or what made that feeling come up in us that has us either be exorbitant in our spending or very frugal and fearful and hoarding almost in our spending. So and how we deal with finances. So that was one of the things we talked about last week, Dr. Marcy. What were one of the things you could take away from last week?
Well, what I take away from last week is that the abandonment is very serious. We have the identifiers of abandonment, which is doing too much work, you're overworking, you're hoarding. So these type of things are indicators of abandonment. And it's a feeling of you're alone and you don't have anybody to take care of you. And we know that God is always there.
Yes, yes, and
We
that
know
and that. Yeah, go ahead.
we know that he will never leave us or forsake us. So that dispels the negative thought of nobody's there for you.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes. So let's talk about what are some of the steps we talked about last week as we recap. Matter of fact, let me just talk about something that will lend itself to last week's conversation and kind of jump us off to this week's conversation. And what we are finding out is that understanding the interplay between abandonment and financial behaviors is essential for developing strategies. And people hear strategy and they think it's some really mastermind. Strategy is setting up some type of system or a routine that will cause you that even when you don't feel like it, even if you are discouraged, even if you may be feel even rejected, as we're going to be talking about, it'll give you a place to lean into as an aid or a guide to help you move through what you're trying to accomplish. So it's a behavior essential for developing strategies to mitigate adverse effects. By acknowledging, we talked about by acknowledging the psychological influences, individuals can cultivate healthier relationships with money and make informed financial decisions. That is what we're hoping to do. We're hoping to give some keys, some points that will allow you to begin to make a decision that you feel confident in based on the word of God.
Yes. And let's always go back to what we started out with when we started this series to come out of repositioning out of unhealthy and unproductive cycles are those things that you follow to come out. Number one, identify the cycle. Number two, identify the source. Once you know that, then you sit with the emotions behind it, which can help you come out. So let's look at an identifier. As Coach John Shoats just said today, we're going to rejection.
Yes, recheck.
Abandonment can also lead to feeling rejected. Am I now trying to win the approval of other human beings or of God? Which one? We should be trying to get the approval of God and not other human beings. And so when we find ourselves over in there trying to win somebody else's approval, trying to prove who we are through our spending or whatever else, then we can end up in one of those unhealthy cycles. John, what do you say about that?
And the cycles can lead from two things. The acceptance or the approval, the acceptance. And so you might do that, and you might heard the term people pleaser,
Mm-hmm.
or overdoing it or over the top. Well, when you become if you have abandonment challenges, and then which can lead to rejection. So if you're abandoned, you can feel some way of rejection, not wanted. Was I good enough? Goes back to those same words that we try not to ruminate in our minds, but continue to come up. So rejection, whether in personal relationships or financial context, can significantly influence our behaviors and attitudes towards money, Dr. Marcy. And understanding these effects is crucial. Here it is for fostering healthier financial habits and overall well-being. We we can get a budget. We can go to a finance class. We can get some things off of Instagram and Google. When it comes to the execution or the application thereof, that's when we're going to find out where we stand with, in this case, how we feel with rejection and how we feel with abandonment. And what we're saying is that rejection can cause you to feel that you're not even worthy to
Yeah.
have financial gain.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Unworthiness, low self-esteem. Now I'm going to those identifiers to help you understand whether you're over in rejection or not. Are you feeling like Coach Show said? Are you feeling unworthy? Low self-esteem, need for validation, not
Mm,
deserving of love, success, happiness, and all that leads to even self-sabotage.
yes. And so as we talk, when you begin to learn how to self-lead and self-coach, what does that mean, Coach Oates? It means when you're ready to self-coach, that means what will you tell yourself to do even when you don't want to do it?
Mm,
Because if you can't begin to self-coach, you can't even take the advice or even implement the advice from a coach.
mm-hmm.
And so how do we do that? We begin to cast down those thoughts so
Yes.
that we can be in a place of ground zero so that we can clean the slate, and we can clean the slate in our brokenness. One thing I love about Christ that he did when he was talking to the disciples about the Last Supper, and he had the bread and he had the wine. He said he put the bread up. He said, "This is my body,"
Mm-hmm.
and he broke the bread. Well, he could not share the bread with the other disciples if he
Until it
did
what?
not until he broke it.
to be broken.
and and we cannot abort the broken period to be restored. He calls himself the potter, and we call ourselves the clay. It is only to you want to be in this all is workmanship, all the things that hurt, all the things that grind out. When you're on the potter's wheel and he's spinning that potter and he's pressing his leg and he's reforming you, is that when you get to your encore, just know there's an there's another visit to the potter's wheel.
Mm. You said something powerful right there. I got to stop right there, John. You said there's another visit to the potter's wheel. And I want people to understand what you just said and the significance of it. And that is every movement toward the north. You know, we
To the
said we're
north.
not going around these circles. We've been going around the hills long enough. We're going where? North.
North.
But every motion that you make toward the north, there's another breaking or another
Entry.
right?
Yeah.
And so, yes, you get to one level, but there's another and another. So we want you to understand that hills and valleys,
Yeah.
hand in hand.
So, Dr. Marcy, you say we out in these hills too long. We're going to go north. All right, and then we said there's a breaking. What I'm finding out from at 55, so I'll just go back to 35. When I'm finding out the difference in the 20 years is my resentment for going to the potter's wheel opposed to my willingness to go to the potter's wheel. Here's the thing: you're still going to end up
You going?
on the potter's wheel. But what I'm learning is that as I become more emotionally intelligent, or what I'm saying is when I become more emotionally aware that what causes me to feel or think or respond a certain way, that the next level as I go north, it does not always make it easier, but what it does it makes it better.
Yes.
Right. And so my coach tells me tells me this all the time. He says, you have to choose your heart. Which heart are you going to choose? Are you going to choose the hard way of keep repeating the patterns and cycles? Or are you going to choose the other hard way, which is to begin to find out what that pattern is causing to break out of the pattern to go north so that you could begin your ascension as you go towards your encore. Mm-hmm. Both are hard, but which heart will you choose?
One heart keeps you in a rut. The
Correct.
Other heart elevates you. So you have a choice. All of them take some type of energy in there that you're going to have to participate in other
right.
words. Mm-hmm.
Right. And we talk about that, Dr. Marcy. Let's talk about the emotional impact of how your emotion can impact your financial decision making. Experiencing rejection often leads to emotional distress. Have you experienced that?
I can't say I've experienced emotional distress. However, I have been in that situation where the other one that's coming up is overspending. I've been there now.
Okay.
So I have been in overspending before, but now I have learned better, so I do better.
Okay. So you have a different response.
Yes.
Because you cannot abort heartache. What we can change is how we respond to the heartache. Mm-hmm. So you ever heard of this thing called shock therapy?
Oh yeah, I have heard of that. Yes. Now I wasn't doing that, of course, but I have heard of that where people feeling, this gonna feel my wound. Which goes back to that's one of those places where it starts. That's a source.
That's a soul wound. Mm-hmm. That deals with your soul. Your soul deals with your psyche, your mind, your emotions, and your intellect. That's a soul wound. Or you might hear when you get involved sexually with a soul tie. That's a soul wound. That rejection causes a wound. How you heal from the wound. So, for instance, Dr. Marcy, say someone broke a finger. Mm-hmm. And the finger is broken. They might be old school. They don't go to the doctor. Mm. And it heals, correct?
Mm-hmm.
It heals. But instead of it healing straight,
It's
it
crooked.
might it might heal a little crooked, right? Okay. In order for the healed finger to use this to have ultimate use,
Mm-hmm.
the finger has to be rebroken
Mm.
and then reset.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a decision. Do we go through healing the way the world does? And yes, we may heal and overcome, but we crook it? Or do we take the time and heal the way Christ wants us to heal, beginning with our emotions and our spiritual direction? And yet, it may take a little longer, but it'll be better because we'll be healed completely and we'll be able to be used at our ultimate. We want to optimize our life. So rebroken, which means you got to go through the process again,
Mm-hmm.
or you can go once
And be done.
and be done.
Mm-hmm. And the sad thing is, John, some people keep getting broken and broken. They listen. You know the saying, some God will throw a little pebble. You don't feel the pebble, throw a rock. Don't don't feel the rock, throw a brick. Don't feel the brick, then the wall comes up. Some people don't want to take that one chance because they want to keep doing it their way.
Correct. And that's
Mm-hmm.
and because Dr. Marshall, we talked about a couple series ago in emotional and relationship intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
Because at first it feels and it looks successful.
Uh-huh.
It either feels good if it's a physical thing. It either the money's coming in because we work with money a certain way. We hustle. We did whatever we did to get that money, and that worked for a minute. And in this case, so and that's the trick I believe of the enemy.
It
He
is.
gives this false impression that is winning to get you locked in or
Mm-hmm.
what they call a stronghold.
Yes.
So if someone has you on a stronghold, what's the only way out, Dr. Marcy?
If someone has you on the stronghold, God is the only person can get you out of that.
And what he got to do? He got to. It start with a letter B. What do you got to do?
Now, then you got me on that one because
He
I
got to break. He got to break the strong. You got to break it.
break it. Oh, okay.
The point.
Okay,
Right.
first break the stronghold.
Right. So the point we making. Right. The point we making is there's still a breaking, Dr. Marcy. And what I'm trying to say, the rejection has you in a broken state. Begin to heal in the brokenness instead of getting healed improperly to have to be broken again. And sometimes God, I believe, will allow the cycle to happen again
And again, yes.
because you didn't heal right or you didn't learn from that broken period. And so because we didn't learn from that broken period, now we going into the patterns. And guess what? Most of these patterns cannot be broken out, Dr. Marcy, until we talk about how do we move from the soul wounds. You get help through the cell wounds from the physical realm with counseling, therapy, pastoral involvement, solid, what is it, meditation. All these are practices to begin to get you to face yourself because if you can't name it, you can't tame it. If you don't face it, you can't overcome it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so at some point, the pebble and the rock are the times where you can kind of handle the pebble and the rock. When it gets to bricks and walls, only Christ gonna be able to pull you out of those brick and walls. He's given us an opportunity to lean into him to identify. Wow, You hear the young folk today talk. They, Dr. Marshall, they said, my girl said all the time, said, man, I felt like I was gonna crash out. Like I'm losing it.
Mm-hmm.
And, and I'm hoping that we have less people crashing out at 55
Right.
and 60 and 40 opposed to when we're 20, 25, and 30. No, no, even though age does not dictate when it happens, we're hoping, I am hoping, Dr. Marcy is hoping that this will be the few times that we crash out. And the reason why the crash does not have to be major is because we want to give the tools that you can get with us on our one-on-ones if you want, to get the tools to how to respond when hardship or when calamity comes. Because what we do know, you is coming.
Mm-hmm.
How do we do? What are some other identifiers, Dr. Marcy, that
Well, I'm glad you asked. First of all, I want to say God always gives us a way of escape. Please know that you're not stuck in a rut that you cannot get out. But one of those things to let you know the effects of this rejection,
mm-hmm.
overspending on
Yes.
material things for validation. Are you spending to be accepted? Are you spending? Are you one of those that's going out and buying a car and you don't even have a house?
Uh-oh.
Are you wearing red bottom shoes and you ain't even got a place that you can call your own? So you need to look at why are you doing that? I know some people that may go out and say, "Oh, drinks on me." Why are you doing that? For validation?
Validation.
Okay. So that's one. Financial codependency. Spending
Mm-hmm.
money to maintain relationships. If you got to spend money to stay in a relationship, it's not a good one.
Yeah.
And we talked about that last week too, that transactional.
Transactional.
That's not
Right.
love.
Right. And it comes through two things. Either your fear of how you handle money or how you use money as a tool for control and dominance.
Come
Right?
on.
Right. And how, for instance, individuals facing financial challenges and how they deal with them, guess what? They end up accruing more debt by getting loans and other things to try to overcome the initial debt.
Mm.
And the initial debt was then incurred because you were, my coach says this. He said, we have to begin to learn how to invest on what we put inside of us instead of what we put on us.
Oh, come on now.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
That is not saying that you don't, fruits of your labor, get nice things. It is not saying that you don't put money up for protection and safety, such as, in case of emergency come. What we are saying is, what are the driving mechanisms that are causing you to do abnormal financial spending or abnormal financial decisions? I see this a lot in divorce cases, and divorcees or broken relationships out of rejection. Financial abuse happens when you're trying to one up the one that broke you, or the circumstance. You're trying to financially one up them. You're trying to appear there. I'm not going to look like I look. I'm gonna always look together. I get some of that principle when you are putting yourself and trying to lift up your self-esteem, but it becomes egregious or extreme when you're doing it to, once again, the approval of or the appearance of I'm in a better place. I'm at a doing a better thing. I'm doing this because of rejection. Dr.
Mm-hmm.
Martin.
And also the fear of asking for help. That comes from being rejected. Because if I've been rejected so much and I need help, I won't go ask for it.
Dr. Marcy, that leads me to one of my points. The fear of rejection can manifest, oh my Lord, as procrastination in financial matters. People may delay essential tasks like paying their bills, or what we just talked about, or saving for retirement, leading to late fees. But here's the thing that you just mentioned. This also could lead to avoidance behavior. They avoid and stem from anxiety or unacceptance or rejection or potential negative outcome. It just puts you in a tailspin, Dr. Marcy. And a transparent moment here. When my father passed some years ago,
Mm-hmm.
um, and um, I didn't realize certain things were going on with me.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to the funeral and we did the funeral things and everything was done well and things were planned and he did what he did. He had his money set. I mean, things were in order.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know I had some form of rejection from my father until what, Dr. Marcy? Till I heard the amount he left me opposed to my sister.
Uh-oh.
At, at, at 20, 23, 24 years old, um, we came and they did the, dissemination distribution.
Mm-hmm.
At 55, though, Dr. Marcy, I understand why he did what he did and chose me at that level the way he did, because at 24, I was nothing like I was at 35 or 50. And guess what? Had he gave me more, I would have blown every single thing because of my immaturity, my emotional intelligence, and I and my false offense of rejection.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When really he was trying to.
Protect you. He was protected.
So that's what rejection can do. Rejection can put you in a place that makes offenses appear not real against those offenses that are actually real. It
Mm-hmm.
puts you in a place of defense.
Mm.
It puts you in a place of lack. And I'm not just saying financial. It puts you in a place of relational lack, relational disparity, relational separation, relational isolation, Dr. Marcy.
Mm-hmm.
It's what
Mm-hmm.
rejection can do.
And here we go again with that scripture. Am I now trying to win the approval of human beings or of God? So, as we recap this, to make sure that people have at least one tool that they can take with them to reposition out. We're repositioning out. And it's a process.
It's a process.
Okay, it's a process. The first thing I want to say is we have to find security in God's acceptance of us rather than seeking the validation through spending,
Yes.
validation of others through spending.
Hmm.
God will secure us, He will provide for us, and we have to know that. So I recap with that tonight.
And Dr. Marcy, let me leave with this one little um, thing I found in my research.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Intentionally seeking rejection can build resilience and lead to greater success. I never heard of this until today. By setting rejection goals, individuals can reframe
Mm-hmm.
their
Mm-hmm.
perception of rejection, reducing reducing its negative impact and fostering a growth mindset. This approach encourages us to take note of how we felt, how we responded, and how we implement what was just impacted and rejected in our life. Causing this reflection will allow us to result in better financial outcomes. Here's the two words:
Mm-hmm.
over time.
Mm-hmm.
The pro over
Over
time,
time.
not around the corner. So we set up in our mind that when rejection comes, is not failure is not final.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to set up a strategy to reframe rejection and to begin to implement some of these steps we talked tonight
Mm-hmm.
about. It has been my pleasure, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
It's on you. Close this out.
Well, I want to challenge those who are listening to go and find out what God says. Know your worth, know who you are. And I give you Ephesians 1, 4 through 5. Go read that and let that marinate, meditate on that throughout the week so that you are not seeking validation of others through your spending. And as we do every week, we're going to use our base scripture, Romans 12 and 2. And we're coupling it with Deuteronomy 8 and 13 for the finale of this particular session. And it's a prayer. I'm going to pray this again. We're going to pray this again so that it sinks in. Lord, renew our minds and transform our views of money. Replace fear with faith, rejection with security in you, God, and shame with confidence in your provision. Help us steward wisely and walk in your obedience. All right? And that's in Jesus' name. Like the young folks say, and that's on God.
And that's on God.
You hear me?
On God.
You're worthy. You are worthy of God's love. You're worthy of his provision. You're worthy of success. You are loved. John, I'm through. I'm done for the night with that one.
That is absolutely amazing. Coach Dr. Marcy, I appreciate you. I appreciate how we're building this little by little, step by step. And I want to encourage our viewership to reflect on it, contemplate on it, think about it. And if you want, make comments to it, like and subscribe to it. This is every Thursday at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are here as your encore coaches. I am Coach Shoats.
And I'm Dr. Marcy.
And you have just witnessed the encore. Until next week. Later.
Later. Bye-bye.